Hey guys, Big Red 310s here again with his Chikarasaurus Rex How to Hatch a Dinosaur 2012 review. Normally, at something like this where I'm behind, where I'm late in a review, I would not really go over it as much. But since not a lot of people are really talking about it, like I looked on YouTube and of the people I'm subscribed to, only Trademark has made a review. I haven't even seen any other reviews of the show, which is kind of surprising. I remember for the first pay-per-view, there was a lot of buzz and a lot of people were busting out reviews left and right. And for this one, I just guess the interest level wasn't the same. I mean, last time it was their first ever iPay-per-views, and it had the first ever Gran Championship as the main event, kind of a bigger deal. This time, the build main event didn't have as much interest. The GEKIDO versus Chikara 10-man tag, and the actual main event, Young Bucks versus F.I.S.T, did nowhere near had as much interest as it had Kingston by Quackenbush, so I can understand. But just not a lot of buzz, I guess, about this show beforehand. I mean, I was off Twitter for 2 days because I didn't want to see spoilers for the show because I couldn't see the show live Saturday night. So I was off Twitter until I saw the show, and when I finally saw the show, here I am to talk about it. And there's really, like, I was looking through some of the people I follow on Twitter. I was looking through their histories, and no one was really going crazy about the show. Only Trademark and Soda Popinski, Brian, next big thing. They were the only two guys that were really like talking about it. Everyone else just kind of ignored it. So I guess just a lot of people didn't see it or whatever. But I will go in depth in the show. Before I do though, projects that I'm currently working on. I'm working on 3 videos, and I want to get them out to you guys quick. The first one is going to be a sports video with J2B1, for those that remember him. He's a friend of mine on Twitter. We get into a lot of discussions, heated discussions, I would say, on Twitter about various topics. And I've always wanted to kind of do like a first take thing with him and record it and put it on here. I haven't had the time. And then last week I wanted to do it Thursday, but he was busy. And he wanted to do it Friday, but I was busy. So this week I'm going to try to iron that out. The second video I'm trying to work on is the year-long WWE structure. Because I feel, and I've been saying this for a long time, almost ever since I started on YouTube, that there's a pattern. That there are months of the WWE that are good and there's months that are bad. For instance, almost every year, without fail, from December to April, the WWE is very good. Usually, the April show, Extreme Rules, Backlash, it's usually almost always one of the best shows of the year. The December pay-per-view is almost always one of the better shows of the year. WrestleMania, you know, last year I guess was a little hit or miss, but aside from that, it's usually a great show. No Way Out, this year was one of the weaker ones, or Elimination Chamber, I guess. This year was one of the weaker ones, but usually that show is one of the best shows of the year. And Royal Rumble is usually pretty good. It's never, I don't think it's ever great. I don't think it's ever decent. It's always usually, you know, good. It's always a good to very good show. So without fail, those months are always great months for the company. And then I feel May and June are off months. July and August are good months again. And then September through November are bad months. I feel that's the pattern. I want to kind of talk about why that pattern is in place. Why specifically these 6 months they're good, these 6 months they're bad. Or I guess 7 and 5. I want to do a video on that. And the other videos, All Sides of the Wrestling World, I will tell you exactly what's going to be on that one. Over the Limit, which, you know, that's not really outdated. There is some outdated stuff on this, without question, but I always try to put in some fresh stuff in there. Over the Limit is not outdated. The Homecoming, outdated. Rise to Prove, outdated. Then I'll put the Chikara Hot Off the Griddle, the Contaminated Cow, and I'm also going to include the Anniversario shows that just came out, and Kurt Russell Reunion 3, which I've seen that entire show except the main event. So that will be the next one. And then the one after that will be, the one after that might just be a bunch of old Dragon Gate and CCW shows just combined. Like, watch it if you're interested, don't watch it if you're not, type of deal. But that's what's coming up. So let's get into this with the Chikarasaurus Rex review. This show I thought was excellent. This show I thought was better than High Noon, and this show I thought fully delivered. You know, going into the show, I was telling people I really do think this is the most stacked card in Chikara history. I really thought I've never seen a better top to bottom card than the one that they laid out, and it delivered, I would say. Everything delivered at my expectations except for 2 matches, which we will get into, or at or way above. We started with Ultramantis Black versus Ophidian. I really like the storyline. It's been very small, like you haven't really noticed it. It's been more a storyline of Ophidian trying to become the devious one in Chikara. than an actual, like, you know, long fulfilling storyline. It's been more about a character development of Ophidian, and I've liked what they've done with Ophidian. They've made him, you know, that transition from face to heel has been smooth. There was a good reason for it. He comes off as a believable heel. You dislike him, and Ultramantis Black was the perfect opponent, because Ultramantis Black, I really do think Ultramantis Black right now is the only guy on the roster that can beat Eddie Kingston for the title, and people will be okay with it. I really don't think there's anybody else in the roster that can do it besides Ultramantis Black. I just think Ultramantis is at the point where he's so over and everyone loves him, and he's been there for so long that he's that guy. Whenever he comes through the curtain, everyone's like, "It's Ultramantis," and they love him and they want to cheer him. I think it's kind of like Jigsaw, where I was complaining on why Chikara had Jigsaw lose to Grizzly Redwood and Mr. Touchdown, and then have him beat Tim Donst and Icarus, two of the two of your top heels, and then challenge for the title. I thought that was a bad transition. And someone was saying, well, Jigsaw's just the type of guy that he's been around for so long that he'll always be like that perennial main eventer just because of his legacy with Chikara. I think Ultramantis Black has a stronger legacy. I think he has a stronger tie to Chikara. And with that, I think that, you know, he'll just always be that guy that the fans will love now that he's a face. I'm sure if he wanted to be a super full-fledged heel, he could do it, but I really like his role now, and I do see him as a future champion. So, and this was a very good opener. Ophidian, I've said for a long time, I've been saying this since like late 2009, early 2010, that Ophidian is one of the most underrated singles wrestlers in Chikara and on the indie scene in general. And you don't get to see it because he was in the Portal. And the Portal was a great team, but he never got to showcase his own single abilities. And I always said that, you know, watch this guy, give him a chance. And then last year in that 12 Large Summit tournament, we saw him have really good matches with Mike Quackenbush. He had that really great match with El Generico. He also had a really good match with, was it Fire Ant? I can't even remember. It might have been Fire Ant, where he had that other really, really good match. I can't fully remember all this stuff, but he was so entertaining last year, and I think that he showed here why he is one of the better singles wrestlers in Chikara. He had a really good match with Ultramantis Black. It was a lot of fun. Crowd was really into it. A lot of believable near falls. I was really into one thing about the show, because I'm so interested, because Chikara is my favorite promotion, and I love this company, and it's been my favorite promotion for almost 3 years now. I'm so in love with these characters that I'm so into these near falls. And there were a bunch of near falls in this match, like when Ophidian hits the miss, and I just jumped up in the air thinking that was the finish, and I had to calm down and sit back down. Great stuff. Really, really good match. Then we got the loser of the fall leaves Chikara, the Throwbacks versus Colt, Cabana, and Mixed Martial Archie. Mixed Martial Archie, for those who do not know, is arguably the greatest gimmick in the United States right now. Archibald Peck was basically upset that his former love interest, Veronica, his valet was pursuing Mr. Touchdown, and his valet left him because he kept losing. So he changed from Archibald Peck to Mixed Martial Archie, and it's kind of a knock. Some people say it's a knock on MMA fighters, and it is, but I think it's also a knock on pro wrestlers who try to do too much MMA. I'm not making any Davey Richards or Kyle O'Reilly comparisons before someone jumps on me for that. I'm not saying that. I think that it is mocking how some people try to mix MMA and pro wrestling in the same ring, and how it's not a great resonation. I think there's a slight knock at that, as well as a knock on MMA, obviously. And Colt Cabana was a great opponent. Colt Cabana was really over. Not surprising. I mean, people haven't seen him because he's not a Ring of Honor anymore. So to finally see him in a prominent U.S. promotion, he got a few cheers. The Throwbacks of Dasher Outfield and Sugar Dunkerton were my favorite tag team in all of wrestling, not just Chikara, all of wrestling. And when Sugar Dunkerton left, I was very upset. And they got delegated, the Throwbacks got delegated down the ladder, and Super Smash Brothers are now my favorite tag team in wrestling. And that was before they won DDT4. They've been one of my favorite tag teams in wrestling ever since they had that 2009 run in Ring of Honor. And so, yeah, I was really excited for this match. This match was also really entertaining. Probably went a little too long. It went almost 20 minutes, I think. Probably wasn't necessary to go that long, but all the situations that the match set up, there were a bunch of circumstances, like when Cole was by himself and mixed martial arts was taken out, and he had to come back as Archibald Peck and make his comeback. It was a super entertaining matchup. I was really into all 4 guys, so I was really, and the stipulation of this match was very heavy. Loser of the fall leaves Chikara. So I was going crazy at all these near falls. I don't want to spoil it because I do want you guys to enjoy it, but just know the finish worked and the aftermath worked even more so. And I'm very excited for this program. Ladder match for Gran Akuma's career. Gran Akuma versus Icarus. This was a great match. Brutal spots. Some of these spots were brutal. Oh my god. Like, freak. There's a spot where Gran Akuma's on the ladder, Icarus is on the ladder, and Gran Akuma yanks the ladder off like that, and Icarus just falls back first off the air to the ground. Power bombs into ladders, sentons onto ladders. Just a brutal ladder match. And I felt the ladder match was warranted. It made sense with the feud. They've been building this feud for a long time. And like I said, every spot was just brutal. Like that's another thing. I said this about the Raw Money in the Bank last year. When you can sense the brutality of a match being really rough, it makes you care more about the spots in the match, therefore makes you care more about the outcome of the match, therefore you're more invested into the match, and therefore it makes it a better match. The brutality made you care more about this match. It added a lot to the match. You were like, damn, I could sympathize with these guys. That is why it proved it was very effective. And the finish was excellent in my opinion. Came off really well. Just a great match. This is probably the best match I've seen from both guys, which is not that surprising. Sara and Saturn. And that's not a knock on both guys. I really like both guys. It might have come off that way, but no, it's not. I like both guys a lot. Sara and Saturyne versus the Batiri. This was the worst match on the show, but understandable. Wasn't given as much time. There was a bad finish, but it was an understandable bad finish. But at the end of the day, I think True Sir said this once, a fuck finish is a fuck finish. Not much you can do with it. But the action was good. I really like Saturyne and Cobalt. They're 2 people on my, I guess Cobalt is on my man crush list for indie wrestling. And Saturyne, I mean, it's not that I'm attracted to her. And again, I'm not calling her ugly by saying that. But I just really like watching her wrestle. I don't know why. She doesn't do anything incredible. But every time I see her wrestle, I'm just like, wow, I enjoy this girl a lot. A lot. Like her match with El Hijo de Ice Cream. I love that match. That match was awesome. And Cobalt's the same way. Every time he wrestles, you know, I can't help myself. Every time I see him wrestle, I'm just like, wow. My hair's all fucked up. What the fuck? What the fuck? Every time I see Cobalt wrestle, I'm just like, wow. I really like that guy. That guy's really good. Same. I'm in love with both of them. I love seeing them both wrestle. And this was a fun match. You know, it didn't go very long. And the finish was what it was. Hallowicked versus Tim Donst. This was another very good match. The finish was exactly how I predicted it. I'm not going to ruin it. But if you follow Chikara, know that that's the finish that they've been doing for a while, except without the reverse. And I knew, I was like, that's how they have to end this match. And they ended it perfectly. The action was great. This has been building for a long time. I really liked Tim Donst. I've always been a fan of his. I think he's a tremendous promo. One of the more underrated promos in the indie scene. And Hallowicked is one of the more underrated wrestlers on the indie scene. And they had a very entertaining match. Was it what I expected? It was around exactly what I expected. Maybe I thought it would be a little better. But nonetheless, it was still a very good match. Tim Donst just plays such an excellent heel, and Hallowicked plays a great face. So it worked for a very good match. Simple. Generic, but I know it's a generic analysis, but it's the truth. And it made for a really good match. GEKIDO versus Eddie Kingston, Jigsaw, Mike Quackenbush, and the colony of Saturyne and Gran. This was a wonderful brawl. It didn't go very long, but it didn't need to. It was just like a non-stop brawl, tons of multi-man moves. Gran did arguably the best spot I have seen this year in professional wrestling. Yes, that is high praise. And Saturyne has been amazing in this feud. This feud of the GEKIDO versus Chikara, Saturyne in almost all his matches is the one that they're going after. He's very aggressively going after the mask of the other guys to get revenge for his guys trying to get their mask ripped off. And every match he's in with the Swarm, you can always see it. He's always the most aggressive guy trying to rip off the mask, trying to get revenge. And he did it in this match too. And then they were very close to revealing his mask, but he was able to get it back down and recover. But he's been a champion in this feud. He's done very well in this feud. And like I said, it made for an awesome 10-man brawl. Just a nonstop brawl, nonstop crazy action, nonstop great spots, tons of multi-man spots that really, really made the match flow really nicely. The finish was great. This was perfect booking. This match was perfect booking. It was a super fun match, 3 3/4. Next we get the main event, the Young Bucks versus F.I.S.T. I love this match. This match is one of the best matches I have seen all year. And I know I love this match more than almost anyone else, and I'll say why. Going into this match, I was like, this is the main event, because I thought the GEKIDO match should have main evented. Oh, but I was wrong. I was like, I mean, I know they're probably going to have the best match on the show, but they're both heels. I mean, it's just, and especially like Chuck Taylor wrote a blog saying how he loves Chikara and he wants to defend Chikara, and that was the sell for this match, that the Young Bucks would take the titles to Ring of Honor, even though kind of bad luck on Chikara's part. I think it was the day of the show or the day after where Ring of Honor said that they weren't going to use the Young Bucks for a few months because they lived too far away, which I thought was an unfortunate series of events. But yeah, I guess the whole sell to this match was Chikara versus Ring of Honor, and will Ring of Honor steal the titles from Chikara? Because that's how the Eddie Kingston Kevin Steen match was billed like. And Chuck Taylor in his blog was talking about how like he loves Chikara. At the end of the day, he may be an asshole, but he still loves his promotion, and he won't let Young Bucks take the titles to Ring of Honor. But earlier in the show, F.I.S.T. was trying to help Icarus win his match. Very heelish. So at the end of the day, I mean, I know they're trying to come off as, I know we're bad guys, but we're defending Chikara, but they also did interfere in the match earlier. A very heelish thing to do. So the crowd kind of cheered both. It's not a usual heel versus heel match where the crowd doesn't know what to do. They cheered both. Let's go Young Bucks, F.I.S.T. Let's go Young Bucks, F.I.S.T. And it worked. And throughout the match, it became a little more clear that the F.I.S.T. were, I guess, the people that Chikara was rooting for. Like Bryce Remsburg was always really upset when he didn't count 3. And on commentary, they were selling it like F.I.S.T. needs to win to save the titles in Chikara because the Young Bucks aren't in Chikara. Chikara can't lose its titles. And damn, was this match incredible. Like, this match was long. It was like 25 minutes. I was into it the whole time. The pacing was excellent and never got out of control, in my opinion. I was into every single near fall. And this is what I want to say, because whether AMC and Juan and Daniel Tuck's Pro Wrestling and any of those other guys, if they're listening, if they still believe that the storyline or the previous work of the two guys does not affect the quality of the match, I just don't think they're right. Because if this match took place in Ring of Honor, my interest level would be far less than what it was. If this took place in Dragon Gate, it would have been far less than what it was. Because it took place in Chikara, and because of that story of F.I.S.T. can't lose the tag titles, I was so into everything these guys are doing. Every little near fall, I was popping crazy for. You know, I was talking to some people on Skype how back in 2009, when the Young Bucks were just on a tear in PWG, like best match, 4.5-star match every show, I would be in total mark-out mode, where every spot was a mark-out spot. It would just be me watching going, oh, 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 over and over and over and over again. And I was telling someone on Skype recently how I don't see that these days. In these tag team matches, I don't get into that mode where I'm just marking out for every spot. This match, it returned. Every spot, I was like, oh, 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 going crazy the whole match. And I think a big part of that was because it took place in Chikara, and I cared about the match a lot, and I cared about each near fall a lot. Chikara got me so invested into every single spot that I just went crazy for this match. The Young Bucks did amazing work in this match. F.I.S.T., and another thing I guess the reason I love this match so much, because I knew going in it was heel versus heel, and Chikara made the fans care. And Chikara got the fans to boo the Young Bucks. They got the fans to cheer F.I.S.T. Chikara did wondrous magic, and they proved to everyone that heel versus heel can work, and they made it work. It was just tremendous skill to take the interest for this match the way it did. And the ending of the show came off great. I'm not going to spoil the result, but just a tremendous, tremendous tag team match. Absolutely tremendous work. Tremendous. The transitions in this match were excellent. Some of the reversals in this match were incredible. I don't want to spoil the spots, but there were some reversals that F.I.S.T. did to the Young Bucks that were insane. So yes, you got to see this match. Go out of your way, buy the pay-per-view just for this match, even though there's other great stuff on the show. Overall, a 9 out of 10. Excellent show. It reminds me a lot of Best of the Best from last year, where there was 2 great matches and a shitload of really good matches, and it was a super entertaining show, and you gave it a 9 out of 10. It's around the same thing. 2 awesome matches, a bunch of really, really good matches, and it was just a really entertaining show, a really fun show. The best professional wrestling show I have seen this year without question. Nothing comes close. And this just goes to show that when people say that Chikara is all storylines, but at the end of the day, they don't really have that great wrestlers, you're full of shit. Because this is the best professional wrestling show I've seen this year. Sorry. So yes, excellent show. 9 out of 10. Go buy it right now. Go to GoFi Live to order the show and support Chikara. Don't just stop here. Buy their other shows because all their shows are super entertaining. I've never finished a Chikara show thinking that wasn't fun. That wasn't a good time. I didn't really enjoy myself. Support this promotion. And you guys will know why this promotion has been my favorite promotion for so long. Thank you, everyone. I'm Big Earth 310. That is it for me, and goodbye.